Hey there, this is Bryan coming to you from HiFi Buys in Atlanta with another video, and today we're going to explore record cleaning from the very basic just dust and surface grime all the way to getting deep into those grooves with ultrasonic cleaning. Let me say before we start this, there are hundreds if not thousands of ways to do this. Everybody has their favorite solutions, their favorite techniques. What I can tell you is there is no 100% right way. There's certainly some wrong ways to do this, but no 100% right way. So we're going to touch on a lot of them, and if you have one that works for you, stick with it. Now, if you want the ultimate guide in record cleaning, in my research I came across the paper, well, more like a book. It is 192 pages on record cleaning, and it is probably the deepest dive into record cleaning I've ever seen. So the link will be down below in the description if you want to check that out. You may ask, why do we clean records? If you have a big record collection, you probably already know that answer, but for those of you just getting started, we'll jump in on that. First part of that answer is it's just going to make your records sound better. Cleaning them is going to get the dust off and any other little grime and grit that's in those grooves that's going to translate into pops and clicks when you play your record. The other reason is that it's going to help extend the life of your records and your needles. Most people don't think about this, but I've read papers that say that there's anywhere from 2 tons or 4,000 pounds of pressure per square inch where that needle contacts the record, and up to 20,000 pounds or 10 tons of force where that needle contacts the record. So you can imagine that any kind of grime or grit or dust is just going to help wear that record down even faster than it normally would. Okay, so we get that cleaning records is good to extend the life of the records and make them sound better, but what exactly are we cleaning? What's on these records that we need to get off? They look clean. I mean, you can see some dust on them, but that's easy enough to get off a little brush. But as humans, we can only see particles that are about as small as 50 microns. And some of the particles that we want to get off of these records and out of those grooves are as small as 10 microns. So what are some of these 10 micron particles that we want to get off of these records? There can be all sorts of things. If you're buying used records and have a large used record collection, you may not know the history of those records. They could have been stored in a damp basement and had mildew growing on them. There can be finger oils from people touching the records, and heck, if they're from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, chances are they lived in a house that had cigarette smokers, and there's probably tobacco tar all over those records. And if your collection is predominantly new records, well, you're not off the hook either. And that's because there are things that can be adhered to new records as well, like release agents and other chemicals from the pressing process. And those need to be cleaned off. So as we get into the various techniques of record cleaning, I want to start with a key point, and that is always start the cleaning process dry. And that is removing the dust with something simple like this anti-static dust brush. And the reason we want to start dry is that we do not want to add a liquid to a dirty record that has dust, potentially finger oils, mildew, tobacco tar, those types of things, because we don't want that stuff to get all mixed together and turn into something even stickier than it already is by itself. Second thing is, once you've cleaned your records, you do not want to put them back into the same inner sleeve that you pulled it out of. That inner sleeve probably has lived the same life that that record has and has all the same grime and dirt and dust in it. You want to make sure that you're getting something like a new archival inner sleeve. So this is going to be dust free. Once that record's clean, you're going to put it into a brand new inner sleeve and keep it clean. Makes no sense to take all the dust and grime off of it and put it back into the same sleeve that held that dust and grime. If you're a real collector and you have the inner sleeve has printing on it, advertising, lyrics, of course, keep it. Turn it sideways, put it back in the jacket so you're not tempted to put your record back in there. So you do not put your record back into this. Not this. That. So we've gotten the dust off the record, and it's time to explore our first cleaning technique, our sort of level 1 or basic record cleaning. And that's going to be with a microfiber brush, like so. This one happens to be cool HiFi Buys branded record brush. And there are many brands of these types of brushes out there in different solutions and kits. These are just the ones that we like and that we have here in the store. So you're going to take your record, put it down on either a microfiber cloth or something purposely made like this GrooveWasher mat. The kit comes with a little spray and a little label protector, so you're gonna spritz your record, and then just with some firm pressure, go around the record a couple of times, and that's gonna clean the surface of this record. And that's pretty much as simple as that is. Now, why is this level 1? As we talked about, some of these particles we're trying to get out of these grooves are as small as 10 microns, and they're deep down in those grooves. And so this brush, while it's great at sort of cleaning the surface, isn't gonna dig down deep into those grooves and pull those tiny little particles out. So, like I say, for small collections, for beginners, this is fine. If you have a big collection, you're gonna wanna dive into a deeper technique. So let's move on to level 2 cleaning. A little bit more intense of a cleaning, a little bit deeper clean. And that's gonna be with something like a product like this. Again, just like the brushes, lots of different companies out there making products like this. I know one of the more popular ones is a company called Spin Clean. This happens to be one I picked up a couple years back as I was going through my own journey of record cleaning techniques. The way this works, let me take it apart and show you. You have this reservoir here, which you're gonna fill with distilled water and a cleaning solution of your choice or your making. And let me stop for a second and mention the distilled water. Always, 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 no matter what technique you're using, always use distilled water. Tap water or well water is gonna be rich with minerals and chemicals, and those minerals and chemicals, when drying, will deposit themselves on your records. That's the opposite of what we're trying to do. Remember, we're trying to get stuff off the record, not put stuff on the record. So, always use distilled water. Back to the Spin Clean. It does come, a little violent to take it apart, with a drying rack, which I'll get to in a minute, is also one of the inherent problems with this system. The way this guy works, you fill it, like I said, with your solution. You've got a roller on either side, and then in the middle, there are little velvet pads. And the velvet pinches the record and gets into the grooves and cleans them. So, record goes in, you spin it 4 complete spins in one direction, and then 4 complete spins in the other direction. You can see this gets a little labor intensive. Once that's clean, you're gonna give it a quick little dry with your microfiber cloth, but it's still gonna need some air drying, and that's where this rack comes in. Cool, it's air drying. What's the problem with that? Well, as it's drying, there's dust floating around in the air and it's sticking back to this record. So it's cleaner than it was, but you may have some dust even after cleaning and drying. And by the time you've cleaned, say, 2 or 3 records in this thing, all the dirt from those records is gonna be in that water. So you're now sloshing your record around through somewhat dirty water. So the plus is that it does a better job than just using the microfiber brush, because you're actually cleaning in solution and getting a little deeper into those grooves. While that record's in solution, the dirt is able to float away from the record. So for somebody who's just getting into record collecting, this is a fine way to start, but we're gonna dive into some of the deeper cleaning techniques next. Level 3 cleaning. This is gonna be a deeper clean. We're gonna get deeper into the grooves and we're gonna extract that dirt out so it doesn't have a chance to re-adhere to the record. In my opinion, this is where serious collectors should start. And this is actually where I'm at in my record cleaning. I do want one of those, but we'll get there eventually. But let's see how it works. Oh God, that's... It's actually not that heavy, that was dramatic for effect. So this is our record vacuum. You would take this and you would put your record on, and this is a nice little magnetic clamp that holds the record down and covers the label to protect it from the solution. On the side here are 2 toggle switches, one to engage the motor and the other to engage the vacuum. So the way this works, we're gonna start the record spinning in one direction. We're gonna use some of our Pro-Ject Wash It cleaning solution that is provided with the record vacuum. It's what I use and I think it works just wonderfully. So once we've got the record on there spinning and the solution put on, we're going to take this brush that again comes with the Pro-Ject and we're going to scrub back and forth. You can see some of the little bubbles starting to appear. That means we're getting down into those grooves and getting that dirt into the soap. One of the nice things, Pro-Ject provides a switch that reverses the motor. So I like to clean my records in both directions, just making sure that any of that dirt has a chance to get out. So once we've given it a few rotations of scrub, you bring the vacuum over, place that down and engage the vacuum. And as you can see, once that's done vacuuming, the record is clean and dry, pretty much ready to put back into your new sleeve or play directly on your record player right away. One thing I'll mention in addition, let's say you have gone down the path like I have and you've purchased a Spin Clean and used it for a while until your arms got tired, and then you've moved up to a more deep cleaning technique. Well, these things don't become entirely useless. You can keep your Spin Clean and then use this as a final rinse. Just fill it with distilled water, run your record through it, it's going to rinse off any of the cleaning agents and everything, run it back through a vacuum, it's dried and ready to go. So pluses and minuses of a record cleaning system like this, you're getting a much deeper clean. You're actually getting into the grooves with this brush, agitating that dirt out, then pulling it away with this vacuum so it doesn't have a chance to re-adhere to your record. Secondly, as you could tell probably from seeing me do this one's a little less labor intensive. Downsides, it's bigger, it is more expensive than this, and it's noisier. But anyway, I love this system. I use it in my own. Like I said, I do want one of those, but we'll get there eventually. Okay, so level 4 cleaning, the ultimate way, or the ultra way, ultrasonic cleaners. This is definitely the pinnacle of record cleaning. You're using ultrasonic waves to cavitate the water and cleaning solution inside the groove of that record. So this is by far one of the best ways to clean your records. It is contactless. In the case of this unit here, it is going to clean and dry your record completely and be ready to go. They are expensive for a reason, and the reason I can tell you that is because I went down the journey of trying to build my own, and well, this is it. It was cool. It was a fun experiment. What I can tell you is that it does not work as well as something like this. This cost me probably $200 in parts, and it works about like a $200 cleaner. And here's sort of the reason why. In a unit like the Degritter, you actually have 3 transducers on either side, bombarding again that record with ultrasonic frequencies. Those transducers and those frequencies have been specifically calibrated for cleaning records. Something like this, which I got off Amazon, is meant more for cleaning parts and jewelry. The transducer is in the bottom, firing waves up. So they're just going right past the record, not really causing much cavitation in those grooves. Whereas here again, those transducers are aimed directly at the record and cause incredible cavitation. So yeah, this was a fun project and a great learning experience, but it just doesn't work as good as a purpose-built ultrasonic record cleaner, which I guess explains why I went from my own ultrasonic to a vacuum. Save your money, save your time, get a vacuum or save up and get a Degritter. Let's look at how the Degritter works. There's a reservoir in the back that you fill with your distilled water. Easily removable, you just pull this guy up, it comes out, you go dump that in the sink, fill it back up with distilled water and your cleaning solution. So that's where I'll mention these guys here. These are actual Degritter cleaning solutions. One is a fast drying and one is better for cleaning off fingerprints. And then there's this guy here, which is actually an enzyme cleaner. So this is an organic cleaner that will get in and sort of break apart mildew and organic crud. So that's something you could add to this solution as well. When you're ready to clean a record, you're gonna grab your record and place it in the slot here. And then on the front, you've got this dial which selects between 4 different cleaning levels. We're going to go to level 1. When you press start, it's going to pull that solution from that reservoir through the filter into the chamber and then degas the solution. And that's important because if there are gas bubbles dissolved in the water, they're going to deflect and diffract those ultrasonic waves and keep them from hitting that record as powerfully as they would if it's degassed. So let's hit play and watch this guy go. So right now, it's pulling that water through the filter and into the cleaning chamber for the record. Now, one of the nice things about the Degritter is you'll notice that it's also doing a jog. So it's keeping a portion of that record in the cleaning area longer than if it was just spinning consistently. The other thing you'll notice as it starts to clean is cavitation. You'll actually see the little bubbles start to cling to the record, and that shows you that it's really doing its job. So as you can see, this is a fully automatic system. You just put the record in, select the cleaning process, press play, and sit back and watch your record get cleaned. Once it's run through its whole ultrasonic cleaning process, you'll notice now the arrow has reversed and it's now pulling that fluid back into the chamber. Once that's done, you'll hear the fans kick in and it'll start to blow dry your record. This is where it does get a little noisy, and that is one of the downsides of a system like this. You're not going to want to use it while you're listening to records, so either put it in a separate room or do your cleaning and then listen. So there you go, cleaned and dried, and I can tell you, we've been handling this record all day and not very cautiously, and all the fingerprints are gone. This thing is as clean as can be. It is super dry, like I said, ready to go back into a sleeve, ready to go on your record player. Let's talk about pluses and minuses of something like the Degritter. It is absolutely the deepest cleaning that you can get. That cavitation is deep into those grooves and blasting that dirt right out. Second plus, it is fully automatic. As you saw, you set the record in, you press play, you walk away. However many minutes later, you've got a cleaned and dried record. Minuses. It is more expensive than the record vacuum, but it does a fantastic job, and it is noisy, just like the record vacuum, so it's not the kind of thing you're going to want to clean a record while you're listening to a record. So that's an overview of different cleaning techniques from the most basic to the most advanced. Oh, I did mention there were some no-nos, and You have probably seen this online, and in fact, I know some people that use it, and that is the wood glue technique. I say stay away from it. It's both messy, potentially damaging to your records and your gear. I have a friend that uses this technique from time to time on really bad records. I came over one day and he had glue all over his platter, and it was a mess, and it took weeks to clean up. So for that reason, and for the fact that, you know, once you slather that glue on, who's to say it all got peeled up? There could be little pieces stuck in those grooves that are gonna wreak havoc on your needle and your record playback. So stay away from the wood glue technique. If you have any questions or you think there's something we missed, although in this topic there's so many things, we could hardly cover it all. Like I say, look at that 192-page book linked in the description below. But if you have any things that you want us to know about, any tips, tricks, techniques that you've personally tried and love, or if you have any questions, hit us in the comments below. Or come see us at HiFi Buys in Atlanta. And until then, enjoy the music.